Dear friends, welcome. My name is Alexey Ognev, CEO of the DigiU ecosystem. Today, we have another webinar where we will discuss the latest updates and cover some important events. The webinar will also feature Alexander E., who will share a teaser for updates from the venture fund. A lot is happening across all of our projects, and the fund plays a key role in the second phase of DigiU ecosystem development. This phase is currently ongoing and will end next year. We are now at the central part of this phase, and there are a lot of events happening. That's why today we will provide a teaser, the latest updates and a summary of important and relevant events. I believe that in a little while, either in October or early November, we will hold a larger webinar featuring the most significant events, information about company registrations, and promising projects. We might prepare a presentation about the fund that Alexander and the team, which has grown significantly, are holding for investors to attract liquidity and establish partnerships. There are currently many partnerships being formed with various associations and other funds. Anyway, Alexander will cover all of these topics. He will shortly discuss these topics today and in more detail during a separate special webinar. Today is October 14th, and we are recording this video for you to watch on October 17th. As always, I want to remind you that during the broadcast, we'll be available in the chats to answer your questions. So feel free to write and tag me in our Russian and English-speaking Telegram chats during the broadcast. In several months, in just over a month and a half, we will celebrate the 5-year anniversary of the DigiU ecosystem. We are actively preparing to approach this significant date with substantial and completed results. 5 years ago, it was difficult for us to imagine the outcomes we would achieve, the impact we would have on the venture and technology markets, and the community we would gather, as well as the quality and commitment of its members. So, there is much to discuss and share. We have the updates that you have all been waiting for regarding dividends, reorganization, and other important events. All of this will be presented in a clear, engaging, and accessible format during the conference that will take place in early December. We will, of course, announce the date in advance. As you know, December 4th marks the registration of our first legal entity, which signifies the beginning of our ecosystem. It has become a tradition for us to hold our anniversary celebration, whether it's a large conference, a live stream, or a significant event, sometime between December 4th and December 10th. I believe this year will be no different. We will choose a convenient date and day of the week to celebrate this occasion together. As always, the ecosystem will be giving gifts to everyone who has been with us for 5 years, a few months, or even just a few days. Everyone is welcome. So make sure to register, complete tasks in the bonus center, and participate in DropX. Now, let's get to the main point of the webinar. The time frame we are in is clear. We have about a month and a half left until the 5-year anniversary, with a large number of events and projects happening. As I prepare for today's webinar, I tried to figure out how to communicate in a way that will be clear to both those who have been with us for a long time and those who have joined us recently, this summer. And this is approximately 20,000 new registered users in the DigiU ecosystem, not to mention the projects where I'm also getting to know the audience. In the capitalist community alone, there are almost 700,000 people. Overall, we have estimated that our audience exceeds 3 million across social media, and it's almost approaching 4 million, as mentioned in a recent post. That's a lot of people. I was trying to determine what we should discuss in the webinars that would be beneficial for the majority, for myself personally, and for the entire ecosystem. As I was preparing, I started diving deep into the projects, reviewing the posts that have been published, looking at the number of projects, and checking my calendar. I noticed that there are various events happening, along with the venture fund, and a huge portion of events related to commercial projects, such as Apato, RWA Bank, RWA Marketplace, and the Launchpad together with Capitalist, among others. There are also many updates in Ava. Overall, based on all of this, I think it might be worth trying to change the format of our meetings. It's clear that we are in a moment where we need to keep up with everything because we want to achieve significant results and, of course, continue sharing them with you. Over these 5 years, the connection we have established through our regular meetings, explanatory webinars, and question and answer sessions is something we definitely need to maintain. We believe, and not just us, that having such a contact with the audience is a tremendous advantage for modern companies. Therefore, we strive to preserve this connection. Moving forward, I will focus more on interesting topics and touch on the areas that I and the immediate teams are concentrating on, with whom we interact on a regular basis. As I mentioned earlier, this includes the fund, and Alexander will soon provide an overview teaser for updates and memorable events. What I am currently focused on can be summarized in a few key areas. The first and foremost, which we have been discussing since the beginning of September, is liquidity. What does this mean? It refers to funds, money, and everything related to profit, project returns, and revenue. All that can be associated with finances in our ecosystem. So, at the beginning of autumn, we are actively working on liquidity and attracting it through all available means. The first aspect is the installment payments. That's why we periodically run various marketing campaigns to encourage those who have joined us and the contracts that are on installment plans to be paid off as quickly as possible, avoiding any delays. If we look at the statistics, graphs, and the experience we have accumulated over the past 5 years, we can see that if an installment is paid within the first 6 to 8 months, the likelihood of it being fully paid off approaches 90%. If a person doesn't make their payments early, the likelihood of them not completing the payments becomes significantly higher. Therefore, we aim to ensure that during these 6 months, especially before the new year, everyone focuses on the obligation they took on when they arranged their installment plans. It's important to have a sincere, honest, and clear intention to pay off these installments and possibly receive something greater in return right now. That's why we keep conducting various snapshots in September, including Apato snapshots. Currently, in the bonus center, there are tasks available where you can make installment payments. By making a single payment, you receive a bonus. By making a double payment, you get an additional bonus. And for a triple payment or early closure, there are even more rewards. That is, such a practice does exist. So, for everyone looking to maximize their opportunities, be sure to visit the bonus center and understand what actions will earn you bonuses. And obviously, complete the tasks provided. Recently, the second DropX launched, an activity that has already become popular with our audience. It allows many to become co-owners of the DigiU ecosystem. Currently, purchasing new share packages is no longer available. However, there is an opportunity with DropX, which will last until the company's anniversary. I can already tell you that the prices from our partners and the ecosystem projects are being determined, and we have a clear understanding that they will be significantly better and larger than those offered in the first airdrop. It's clear that it's also time to coincide with the company's 5th anniversary. I think we will introduce some additional activities to make participation more engaging. Not just signing up or commenting on posts, but perhaps through some interesting challenges. While there might not be tests, we will add some additional enjoyable activities for those who are following the ecosystem. Participants will definitely be able to look forward to some significant and exciting prizes. These prizes may not be limited to just digital assets, tokens, NFTs, discounts, or other bonuses. We might even give away some tangible things, perhaps gadgets or something else, specifically on the occasion of the company's anniversary. So, if this sounds interesting to you, please like the broadcast or leave a comment about what you would like to receive as a gift. I also ask everyone to be realistic in their expectations. If you have any ideas, we will certainly consider them, but we won't be giving away things like cars, apartments, or luxury yachts. That's not the right way to attract interest. So, that covers DropX. Now, let's move on to discussing liquidity. Liquidity is our main focus right now, especially regarding installment payments. After completing the share sales, it was a measured yet exciting step for us. We're very proud of what we have accomplished, and now we're managing our resources effectively. Our goal is to ensure that the installments you have applied for will be sufficient for the entire ecosystem to achieve our objectives until the end of 2025. We want to reach a point where, according to our calculations, all products start generating substantial profits, and we see some initial exits from the venture fund. I mean, this is not just about exits with profit. We are aiming for the year 2025, as the last installment payment should align with that timeline. During the webinar, I mentioned the risk we foresee because everyone remembers the times when markets were down. When we have financial resources available in those conditions, the ecosystem will have significantly more opportunities. Therefore, liquidity is our primary focus. Obviously, each project leader and department is concentrating on making the projects profitable and achieving self-sustainability as quickly as possible. Currently, we are actively developing the Launchpad, because its business model is very clear, presenting minimal risks with maximum opportunities. Alexander will talk about this in detail, and I believe we will hold a separate webinar with Idar to discuss the Launchpad, as it's currently in a particularly advantageous position. If we look at Apata now, we see that this is a long-term project. We recognize the significant potential, but also the considerable efforts required to bring it to market. Real estate, the sector we operate in, is indeed very lucrative, but it's also quite conservative. Progress is gradual, however, we are increasingly receiving requests. Teach us how to tokenize, how can we place our properties with you, and similar requests. And if you watched the webinar from the InvestTrend conference in Moscow, there were indeed many questions like this. Compared to previous conferences, they are becoming more and more specific. I want to highlight that Apata has made significant progress in terms of its expertise. We attended this conference alongside Etaji Indonesia. Anyone in Russia knows that it's one of the largest real estate agencies. Not long ago, they entered the Indonesian market, specifically in Bali. What does this give us? It enhances our expertise significantly. We are gradually developing this partnership, and hopefully, if everything goes well, we can establish some sort of official recognition that Etaji Indonesia is a partner of Apata. This partnership will guarantee a legal review of the properties. Our properties offer everything you would expect from top-tier brokerage agencies. These are the investment attractiveness, legal protection for transactions, verification of everything, and the selected property that aligns perfectly with the intended goals. I remind you that the first properties we tokenized had already been completed. Currently, in the personal account, the sale of the property under construction is coming to an end. We specifically chose a small unit priced around $85,000, located in a very interesting and promising area. We plan for this transaction cycle, where we enter, tokenize, and exit for about 3-4 months, aiming to demonstrate annual returns of around 23%, maybe even slightly higher. These figures are quite high for the real estate market, especially if you are watching us from Europe and other regions. Now is the time for Apata to create such cases, experiment with business models, establish key partnerships, and confidently enter the real estate market. Therefore, the teams are focused on finding an effective business model that will generate enough profit. First, for the project's self-sustaining operations, and then to earn and achieve financial independence. What I'm getting at is that the number of projects within the ecosystem is growing. They emerge as independent projects where we test hypotheses as well as those we invest in through the fund. If you visit the fund's website, you will see a fairly extensive portfolio. In May, we calculated that we had increased by 220% in terms of the number of commercial projects. I think that by the end of the year we'll have even more projects. Right now, we are not focused on the numbers. We're looking for promising deals and evaluating whether to enter or not. So, what does this large number of projects in the ecosystem provide you? Each project generates profit in one way or another, whether by earning it or by acquiring a project at a low price in its early stages, then selling it for multiple X returns. These are all the dividends of the ecosystem that you, as co-owners, receive. Speaking of dividends, I want to highlight a few things. First of all, we have distributed dividends 6 times. We are very proud that this year we didn't distribute dividends and instead directed everything toward the company's development. And that was a very good decision. Now we find ourselves in a position where we are considering the possibility of resuming dividends next year, as there are resources available for distribution. And we aim to ensure that they are significantly higher. Therefore, in the second half of 2025, there is a possibility that we will distribute dividends that will be very impressive. So, let's focus on developing the projects and making sure that the dividend income from the shares is substantial enough for you to live on. We want it to be high in terms of percentage and the dollar amounts that you receive on your account. This is everything that provides us with liquidity. Therefore, in the near future, there will likely be a series of posts about commercial projects because, as I mentioned, around 20,000 new people have joined us. Many typical and recurring questions are being asked. we are preparing a series of posts explaining how each project impacts the ecosystem, what its prospects and risks are, what amount of profit and dividends can be expected if it succeeds. There will definitely be a series of posts like this, so make sure to read them to stay tuned. This is how we engage with our audience. Of course, there will be some overview webinars, but it's probably unrealistic to think that you can fully understand the ecosystem just by watching one webinar without reading 2-3 posts. No, we have grown so much that you need to pay attention to both formats and draw your own conclusions. And fortunately, they always lead to positive conclusions. The second point, the focus area I have chosen. First and foremost is liquidity in all its forms, with the aim of ensuring both significant dividends and the company's stable performance, allowing it to achieve all its goals and milestones effectively. The second goal is the audience. As I mentioned, we have calculated that we have over 3.5 million followers on social media, and this number continues to grow across all projects. I believe that by the end of the year, this number will be even higher. This relates specifically to DigiU and others, which is fantastic. Much of this growth is due to the development of the Telegram application and our effective communication with the chats. We strive to explain everything thoroughly and pay maximum attention to our audience. I occasionally check the chat and notice various conversations happening. And sometimes I even want to step in. I see discussions and think, we have already written many posts, held webinars, and provided information on this topic. Please, pay attention, because we have addressed these questions, and all the answers are available there. Think of it as my personal favor to you. Let's focus on two things: significantly growing our audience and increasing liquidity. We are already seeing results in both areas. Each project is conducting its own business activities, so make sure to participate in a Pato sale. I mentioned that I would touch on this topic again. We have distributed dividends over the past 4 months for the first tokenized property that we sold. Significant figures. People received several $1,000s in just 4 months. Over this period, the rental income for the Vesna townhouse property was almost 12% annual returns, amounting to approximately $8,000. This is in addition to the fact that there is also a liquid secondary market. Thus, individuals with a sufficient number of tokens, or those who purchased them during the sale, either receive dividends or continue to receive dividends. This also makes us very proud. $8,000 is being paid out based on the fact that someone is renting the real estate asset you once purchased in a tokenized form. Think about it. If you had owned the entire real estate asset, you could have received $8,000 in just 4 months without doing anything, without going anywhere, simply by making that investment. If you look at each project this way and assess specifically what you have received from each, you will notice a lot of streams of passive income. I don't particularly like the word passive, but many people use it. The more of these streams you have, the greater the dividends and financial freedom you can achieve. This is one aspect that DigiU offers to its co-owners and investor users: financial and technological freedom. Everything that high technology can offer to a person, we provide, and this already translates into thousands of dollars or even tens of thousands each month. If we look at the bonuses distributed in the form of snapshots and dividends, we have allocated $1,767,000 just from various bonuses, snapshots, and DropX initiatives. These are huge amounts of money, and this is without considering any potential growth, along with approximately $400,000 in dividends. Just imagine the volume of funds already on your accounts over this period, and the year isn't even over yet. So, why am I saying this? Because we are consulting on the reorganization of the company and addressing various questions. We are choosing a legal entity structure that meets as many of our necessary parameters as possible, ensuring accessibility for people, reasonable costs, and ideally, it should be technologically advanced. And we want to ensure that there is no need to travel anywhere. We should be able to handle everything in a single window mode. This way, everything is within a full legal framework and as accessible as possible. Yes, there are options available. Sometimes they can be costly, take a long time, or may not be accessible to everyone. We're searching for these parameters and trying to comply with them. When we present certain figures and the amount of dividends paid out, explain what we call dividends and how much we distributed in snapshots, many lawyers look at us and ask, why do you separate these things? There are legal norms that can equate these payouts and dividends. It's clear that there are some limitations and caveats involved. However, I've heard several times that such payments seem to be regarded as one and the same, even though we refer to them differently. Why am I bringing this up? It's important to look at everything the ecosystem offers from a broader perspective. Now, let's listen to Alexander E. I have talked for quite a while. The venture fund is key to our second stage. It's positioned us in the serious world of venture financing and gives us the right to enter deals that others simply cannot access. All of this is made possible by the venture fund. This proper development is also ensured by our strategic approach. Now, let's give a floor to Alexander and hear about the latest updates and events. Hello, dear friends. This is Alexander, the head of the WebWise Capital Venture Fund. I haven't done a webinar in quite some time, because I had a lot of work to do. Let me briefly share what we have been up to and the latest updates. We will also talk about the venture fund and the launchpad in more detail. I believe we will organize a webinar about the venture fund soon. Let's start from the end of August. At the end of August, we participated in the CoinFest conference held in Indonesia. In September, we launched the bootcamp featuring 13 projects, 13 strong startups that have already attracted investments from various venture funds and have revenue. We lived in a villa for a month where we had different mentors from ex-Binance, Gate.io, and the vice president of the Solana Foundation, along with a whole team of various market makers and others. The mentors helped the projects develop their go-to-market strategies and plans for future growth. We invested in one project as a result of the bootcamp. We were there as mentors, sponsors, and experts. It was a great opportunity to build relationships with the funds present, including the Solana Foundation, and to connect with projects and market makers. We invested in one project, which you will hear about soon. It is in the real-world asset segment. This project has been on the market for about 3 years now. We made the decision to invest, and it will also be appearing on the launchpad shortly. We were introduced as both a launchpad and a fund. Negotiations are underway for footages from the bootcamp to be featured on Amazon Prime, which has an audience of tens of millions. Additionally, in September, there was a significant conference in Singapore called Token 2049. It's one of the largest and most exciting events in the world right now. We participated in the event, although we didn't have our own activities or a booth. However, we were able to attend a large number of events, many of which we were already familiar with. Ava, our launchpad Antipad, was also presented there. Keep an eye on Ava's progress. Very positive updates that everyone has been waiting for will be coming out soon. Regarding the fund, we also made agreements with funds like Amber Group. This company operates in 5 different areas and it's one of the largest market makers in the world. They have a venture division, asset management, digital banking, and more. We will be exchanging projects with them, which is very exciting. We also spoke with potential investors for the fund. The concept of our fund as fund or funds is particularly interesting to large investors looking to diversify their capital. For instance, we talked with a big enough mining pool from China that has previously tried to invest in individual projects but faced challenges. They listened to our strategy and found it very interesting. They learned about the funds we collaborate with and through which funds we plan to invest, and they showed great interest. We are currently continuing negotiations. We are finalizing the process of packaging and establishing our fund in a serious format. At this moment, we are in discussions with Pantera Capital, Galaxy Digital, Electric Capital, Multicoin, and many others. A few years ago, we could only dream of meeting them, and now we are in a communication, signing agreements to become their investors. It's not easy to be accepted as an investor in such funds. For example, Galaxy Digital is the firm that won the tender to sell the assets of the collapsed FTX exchange and the Alameda Research Fund. This means we now have the opportunity to buy Solana, for instance, at a 60% discount, though it comes with locked tokens. However, the key point is that we currently have access to these deals, allowing us to play alongside top players in the field and become investors in the top players. So what are we doing? We are enabling people to become investors in some of the top venture funds in the cryptocurrency world at the very least. We are currently joining various blockchain associations, including the Vietnam Blockchain Association, the Asia Blockchain Association, and the Indonesian Blockchain Association, as well as the Middle East Association. In the United Arab Emirates, we are considering establishing our own blockchain association in collaboration with a fund, possibly with Cypher Capital, which is a Dubai-based fund. We are also moving forward with the process of registering companies as funds in the United States. We have already actively started working with fund investors, and we have our first investors with checks starting from $100,000 and up. By the end of November, we will be making more widespread offers, transitioning from targeted negotiations to a more mass market approach. Our fund will have no more than 100 investors. We have done some serious work to position ourselves as a fund of funds, becoming investors in the largest top-tier funds in the world. That's the first part of our strategy. The second part involves direct investments in projects. The third part consists of a venture builder and an accelerator. You could say that the Ava project functions as both a venture builder and an accelerator, and now we have added a launchpad and more initiatives to come. We are joining various blockchain associations. Obviously, we will be represented at different platforms where venture deals are highlighted. We are starting to occupy a significant place in the global market. For example, in November, there will be a major conference from Ethereum in Bangkok called DevCon. We plan to start organizing our own events there together with top funds. As a result, our fund's awareness will increase, and accordingly, our access to quality deals will also grow. We are already exchanging deals. In addition to securing agreements to be investors in funds like Pantera Capital, we will also gain the opportunity to participate in the same deals on the same terms as they do. Typically, they receive the best terms due to their robust team of analysts and access to a wealth of insider information, among other advantages. That's the updates for now. A lot of updates on the Launchpad are coming soon. We have undergone a rebranding because we couldn't ignore the changes happening in the market. As you probably know, there has been an explosion of Telegram applications like Hamsters Combat and Notcoin, which has transformed the market. Now, nearly every project is launching a similar application. Ava has its own application, the Launchpad has one, and many other projects are following the lead. We have come up with a quite interesting concept which we presented in Singapore, and we already have the first 3 projects that want to collaborate with us. So stay tuned for updates and actively participate in the Capitalist and the Launchpad. There will be a lot of exciting activities. An exclusive offering will likely be pushed to the market soon, in November. That's probably all I have for now in terms of brief updates. I believe that in a separate webinar I will provide more detailed insights into what's happening. Of course, our interactions with such global giants in the venture capital industry of the cryptocurrency market also allow us to learn a great deal. We gain a better understanding of how their processes are structured, how the best companies in the world operate, and we definitely adopt and implement some of their practices ourselves. One thing I can say for sure is that we are establishing a fund at a serious and international level. Many investors, funds, and projects are interested in collaborating with us. They find it appealing to become our investors and to form partnerships. This is very encouraging, and we will continue to actively pursue these opportunities in the near future. Thank you very much. Let's thank Alexander. As I always say, if you hear any new or unfamiliar words from him, make sure to write them down, Google them, and take the time to learn and explore them. Alexander and the venture fund team are on the cutting edge of innovation. Venture funds in general are the ones shaping the future. If today funds, I'm not just talking about our funds specifically, but the industry as a whole, are investing in something, it means that in 5 to 10 years we all will be using it. It doesn't work any other way. Everything Alexander says, and everything you occasionally hear from me, is all about the things you will be using in the future. You can become a co-owner of this through DigiU ecosystem securities, gifts, or bonuses. For example, you can go to the bonus center, do something that benefits the ecosystem, and earn shares in return. Or you could take part in DropX 2.0 and receive a gift. You can also dive deeper into an interesting topic, read more, and maybe even choose a new profession. In today's fast-paced world, it's no longer necessary to spend 10 years mastering something. Instead, you need to be able not only to learn and grow within a profession, but also to adapt and switch careers when needed. High technology, especially when combined with venture capital, gives people the chance to do just that. And that's what we are striving for, helping people adapt to this rapid stream of change, become in-demand specialists, achieve financial security, and understand where all this is headed, using technology for good. So if you hear something unfamiliar, write it down, study it, and who knows, in 2-3 years it might change your life. You could even find yourself in a new profession, all because you once heard that word during this webinar. Thanks again to Alexander for his insights. And of course, we look forward to the next big webinar. Maybe we will co-host it with him, or we will try something else together. We are getting ready for our 5th anniversary, and as I have mentioned before, we are giving away some gifts. Typically, we do this in familiar and well-tested formats, like snapshots. Starting from October 15th, we launched the next snapshot, where you can, following the usual mechanics, receive shares in our launchpad and, as a result, expand your portfolio by getting them as a gift. So, make sure to complete your installment payments. The terms are standard, installment payments starting from $100 with no overdue payments at the time of the snapshot. For those who have recently joined us and don't have an installment plan, we have added another option. In the bonus center, you can purchase a $50 RWA project package and also take part in the snapshot. So, you can either buy the package or make an installment payment, whatever works best for you, or you can do both if you would like. It's clear that the topic of RWA projects is gaining more and more traction, reaching the next level. I believe we will soon announce some additional exciting activities related to both the RWA Bank and the RWA Marketplace. Stay tuned, it's going to be interesting. I expect these announcements will either come around the company's anniversary or shortly after. Right now, there's active work being done to implement the roadmaps for these projects. As I mentioned earlier, this year we launched Apato, which is part of the RWA Marketplace. We also launched the Deposits project, which is a part of the RWA Bank, along with cards and wallets. All of this is coming together within a unified ecosystem. It's becoming clear that two fully developed ecosystems are taking shape, both with very interesting and promising business models. The development path we have chosen is not only the most effective, but also the most sustainable and responsible. So, if you would like to add a small portion of these two projects to your portfolio, go ahead and purchase them. We have packages available for $10 and $5, both through DropX and the Bonus Center. As we are nearing the end of the webinar, I would like to remind you, as mentioned, we will be holding another one in about 2 weeks. I think we will make it as detailed as possible. And of course, we keep preparing for the company's 5th anniversary. There is an opportunity to attend the DigiU Ecosystem Forum, which will be held in Vietnam this year. Last year, it was in Novosibirsk, but winter adds certain challenges. While everyone enjoyed being in Novosibirsk last year, the freezing temperatures were, at the very least, not ideal for all our international guests. That's why in the countries where we are actively present, we are trying to diversify our presence. We have been in India, Indonesia, and of course Russia. Now we have the opportunity to host this event and combine it with the company's 5th anniversary in Vietnam. So, we invite everyone to join us. I think many of you who want to attend the event already know about the deposit promo that's currently running, which allows you to participate and win different prizes. A specific marketing budget has been allocated, making this activity possible. One of the prizes includes a ticket to the forum, which will take place in late November, around the 20th. At the forum, we will discuss and summarize our 5 years of work. Some of the content we capture with international leaders there will be featured in a special video dedicated to the 5th anniversary of the company. And of course, there will be surprises for the 5th anniversary. If everything goes as planned, and I believe it will, another very important event will take place during this period, from November 5th to November 10th. So stay tuned. For those of you who are actively following along or even just checking in occasionally, you will know what I'm talking about. Thank you for joining the webinar. Please leave your questions in the comments below the broadcast, and don't forget to like and share. All of this helps us promote our ideas and make the world increasingly technological, ensuring that technology serves the greater good for everyone. Thanks for your participation today. I wish you all the best.